What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Street Fighter Duel video. All right, guys. I'm just gonna be doing my dailies while I talk about this real quick because this is something I think needs to be heard by a lot of people, especially young men. So I have a son, right? He's 4 years old. Well, turning four, close to it. And I have a daughter who's only 9 months old, turning 10 months very soon. And I see this generation struggling so much with something that I feel like was never talked about in my generation, and that is having it all together. So the reason why I'm bringing this up here real quick is I had somebody who requested a shout out. So shout out to Blake. He was looking for, because I did a shout out to somebody else, and I said, if anyone has a birthday coming up, let me know, and I'll put a community post, put a shout out. I said I'll do it in the video. So shout out to you, Blake. And then we started talking about his parents and how he wants to be a YouTube content creator. Okay, and his parents are just completely shunning it because he is, now a young adult who needs to get his act together, have it all together soon, or his parents are planning to essentially kick him out of the house. So I'm a parent myself personally, and I have parents obviously, and I can tell you now, my generation of like my parents' generation did not understand our generation and how the systems worked. They were very much into their own, and not to mention I was an immigrant, so even worse, coming into a brand new country, the systems were completely foreign, just like we were. So it saddens me to see parents who push their children in a negative connotation. Like getting your act together, quote unquote, is something that is a lifetime thing that all of us face. Whether you're a parent or if you're a child or if you're a teenager, sometimes a grandparent, we're all still trying to get our act together. We're all still trying to figure out life in different facets, right? So it depends on the person, and I'm not sure how their parents function, but this is to other parents. I'm old enough to be a lot of your parents, and some of you guys are my age, right? So you guys some of you will relate. But telling a child, my opinion, or somebody who's a young adult to get their act together or they're out of the house or whatever, I think is a very negative way to approach life. And I feel bad for this kid because he has a dream to be a content creator. And I understand how difficult that is for a lot of older parents to understand, and how difficult it is to have your child not go through the traditional sense of like go to school, get an education, all that. And listen, like, I have an education from university. I'm fairly well educated, and I see value in having that education, not only from a social aspect, right, where it's almost like a necessity nowadays, but also it teaches you values that you don't normally get anywhere else. And the values I'm referring to are ones like hard work, dedication to a craft, very much like content creating, where you have to put yourself out there and learn about things that you normally wouldn't learn about. That's what content creating is. At the end of the day, it's not like everybody who creates content on things they're comfortable about. You create content on random stuff, and one day, something might click, and you go there. So, to all the young men out there, specifically young men, and I won't speak for women as well. I have a daughter, but she's not old enough for me to understand how a woman's plight is in this world, and I can only assume it's worse than men's. Like, this is an assumption, and I'm not trying to knock on men at all, but I feel like women have it rougher than we do. But for all the young men out there, I can speak at least on your behalf because I used to be one. Don't let the pressures of your parents, life, peers, teachers put you down to the point where you become depressed or you become obsessed with a thought of failing. And it's a real thing, guys. Like, the thought of failing is a real thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know a lot of young men who, when I was a young man, I knew a lot of my friends who were young men, and their parents were very pushy. And some of them still now don't have it together. And I'm saying don't have it together in a traditional sense, where they feel like, I don't have a partner, I don't have a family, I don't have a child, I only have this job, I feel lonely, etc. But if you really look at their life and you talk to them a little more in depth about why they feel lonely because they see other people who are in these traditional relationships, and they feel like it defines them. And it doesn't. Your happiness, your personal happiness, whether it be with somebody or somebody, or with by yourself, should come first. My motto in life is always this: Don't try to make someone else happy if you can't make yourself happy first. Straightforward. Don't bring someone into your life if you can't make yourself happy. And that goes for young men as well who are trying to find happiness and are being put down. Find your happiness first. If your parents tell you you can't do something, there's obviously a way to communicate with them to try to make that work. I'm not saying go behind their backs and do what you want to do. That's obviously not the message here. But the message is, don't allow that negativity to put you down. Like you can have an open communication with your parents. And I hope some parents are willing to do that with their kids. Because I'd be damned if my kid grew up and was like, Dad, I want to do this. And I'd be like, no, absolutely not. Because it didn't make any sense to me. What didn't make sense to me 30 years from now will make sense to somebody else. And maybe I'm the one that's behind on the times, right? There's a lot of money to be made as a content creator. But there's also a lot of letdown as a content creator. Not many people make it. I haven't made it. I'm doing this for fun, right? But I know some people who stress more than you would at an office, getting a 9-to-5 job as a content creator, because you're like, if I don't get these views, I can't feed my kids, I can't feed my family. So starting young in something like this, as long as you can keep your kids safe, and as long as they have the ability to lean on you in a positive manner, and you can monitor their health and their usage, can also be a good thing. Being a social content creator, someone who's present on an online platform, can teach your kids a lot of things. It can teach your kids how to be social in an atmosphere that's not very common to you. It can teach your kids how to grow self-esteem. It can teach your kids how to do public speaking. It can teach your kids how to manage money and how to manage different bullies, for example, like in comments and stuff, and how to deal with that. And you can help them through those kind of things. Because let's be real, the internet is a harsh world, and I understand from a parent's perspective how you don't want to expose your child to that. There's a lot of predatory things out there on the internet, but at the same time, there's a lot of good. So, to Blake, keep your head up. Happy birthday, first off. Secondly, don't let your parents kill your dream. Talk to them. Talk to them, guys, and talk to your parents. Like, some parents may be completely strict, and you know what? If that's their thing, then don't let it bring you down. Eventually, you will be old enough to make your own decisions. But for now, if your parents feel like that is the best decision for you, of course, there is going to be some give and take, right? You're going to have to take a little bit of that criticism, and I'm sure they'll give you something in return because of knowing how much you care about this. They may offer you something else in return. Some parents may not, but don't worry about having it all together. Like, it's one of those things where even at 40 years old, I still have things I need to work on and get together, right? There's things like being 18 to 30 even, getting it all together differs from person to person, Some people have horrible family lives. Some people come from poverty. Like I came from poverty. Some people come from ghetto. Some people are rich. And it's a whole different set of problems. And I feel bad for those people because they get shunned, they get made fun of because they're rich kids and what do you have going on in your life that's difficult? But everybody has their own problems, right? But I just want to get this out there to the young man. Please, please, please don't worry about getting it all together right away. Okay? It's a lifetime struggle for that. And I just don't want young men like Blake and other young men and women to feel like the pressures of society can't let you be happy just because you want to do something with your life that isn't, I guess, viewed as a positive light or something that's useful to other people. Be true to yourself, make yourself happy, listen to your parents, but also communicate with them. Communication is key. And I guess I wanted to write this I want to say this because I know a lot of men struggle with this. And I think about my son every time I now have a conversation with someone who's young. Like, what am I going to say to my son when he's older? Right? Because these are things my father never talked to me about. These are things I couldn't communicate with my dad because he was a military man. He was very strict. He was very dead set for me being a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, either way, I became something successful. Not on that path, but something successful. But that was for my own doing. That was for my own rebellion. And I wish I never had to rebel against my dad, who was just trying to look out for me, but didn't have the communication skills or the open-mindedness that there are other things in this world now, in this new country, in this new environment we're in, that can be viewed as successful outside of being a lawyer and a doctor, right? So, I was very depressed for a while over that, and I never had anyone to talk to about it, and I found my happiness in doing other things, right? and it was outside of what my parents told me, and I unfortunately had to go behind their back a lot, which was a very bad decision because it caused a lot of rift in my relationship. But we're now practically best friends. Have an open communication with your parents. Parents, if you're watching this with your kids, or you are watching this and you have kids, remember your kids. You were once that age. You once had ambitions and dreams that your parents thought were silly. Don't make the same mistakes our parents made with us and put all of their hopes and dreams and squash them. Okay, don't squash their dreams. Let them try something in a safe environment that you approve of, but don't kill it completely. Right? There's gonna be some absurd requests most likely sometimes, and those have to obviously be rejected. But a lot of the times your kids are gonna do things that they see online or see their friends doing that won't make sense to you. So take the time, research it before you say no, and then get back to your kids and help them grow to be confident young men and women. Anyways, guys, it's Payne. I just wanted to talk about this because, again, I got kids, and the more I talk to people about this, the more it makes me think about my approach to my raising of my children. So I think it's an educational thing for me as well. And I hope this message reaches out to some folks who need it. Again, not a Street Fighter Duel video by any means, but I feel like this is a video that people need to hear in life in general. So yeah, be happy, be true to yourself, listen to your parents, but also do not let people tell you what makes you happy. All right, guys, Payne. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.